It has beautiful blue angles, a massive 5.0 liter V8, and enough red on the inside to make Louboutin owners jealous. Yes, I'm lucky enough to be standing next to the 2023 Lexus IS500 F Sport. This thing is amazing. I'm Bradley Hasemeyer. Let's go for a drive. Hey guys, welcome to Hot Cars. We are car enthusiasts making content for car enthusiasts like you. Make sure you're following us and hit subscribe so you can get the latest renderings, articles, and review videos like this one. Okay, enough about that. On to this beautiful Blue Angel. So let's start on the outside of this beautiful IS500 F Sport. Up front, obviously, there's a dome to the hood. That's to make space for that 5.0 liter V8, 472 horsepower. Oh my gosh, it sounds amazing. We'll get to the performance in a little bit. Obviously, up front, you have the characteristic spindle grille, a lot of gloss black accents throughout, a front lip spoiler. You've got the triple beam LED headlights. Of course, you're gonna notice these wheels. These are special 19-inch BBS forged wheels. They're matte black. I love them. Obviously, lots of angles on this. The IS500 F Sport especially enhances that kind of concept that the chief engineer just took like a samurai sword to like a blue, in this case, a blue block. It was just, because I love this belt line that runs along here. Comes with this little like swoop line. I don't think that's the actual term, but comes up on the back and it meets all the way back here. Then of course, when you get to the rear, you've got some nice kind of blacked out accents, a lot of gloss black, spoiler on the back, this really thin, like laser thin LED tail light that's singular, runs throughout the back, really draws everything together. And then these stacked quad exhaust tips. Oh, I mean, the back of this thing looks phenomenal. The 3/4 is probably the best look. And then of course, you gotta love the front as well with, like I said, the spindle grille and the domed hood. So the outside looks menacing. The interior is actually quite inviting and pretty minimal. So let's check that out. Okay, right as you get in, the first thing you notice is this circuit red interior. I don't know if I would have ever made a car building it online with a red interior, but I love this red leather. It's beautiful. It's this new luxe leather that they have. It's very soft, very comfortable. The seats themselves hug you well. As you can see, kind of high bolsters, high sides for the hips. If you're in a big poofy coat like I was, because this thing's been in single digits and driving through the snow and all that, it's a little bit tight. But if you're, you know, I'm 6'1", 175, for those of you curious at home, and I fit in this really well, feels really comfortable. Some of the stuff I really love about it, this has the upgraded Mark Levinson sound system. It's got 17 speakers, it's got an amp. It's just absolutely sounds phenomenal. Not a very big car, so 17 speakers in this small space, of course, is gonna give you lots of oomph. I also really appreciate the driving kind of cabin, if you will, the setup here. I love the steering wheel. The steering wheel is one of those things that is so important because it's tactile. It's what you're spending a lot of your hands are on it the whole time. Unless you have, you know, Super Cruise or something like that going. And so I love the way that it's set up. It's got paddle shifters on here. I can also manumatic, you know, Tiptronic kind of shift here. We'll get into the performance in a little bit. But it's just overall, it's very comfortable. Visibility is great. Looking through, I can see the nice wide hips in the back with those mirrors. Sunroof. Now you'd think a car like this isn't very big, right? It's the IS, so it's the small, it's the baby in the Lexus sedan world. But I had 2 kids. We went to Grandma and Grandpa's. That's a 2.5-year-old and a 9-year-old in the back seat. We had duffel bags, a crib, gifts, all that in the trunk, and still space up here for an adult, and myself as well. So I was really digging the way that this worked as truly a daily driver, as a road tripper, and yet at the same time, you've got 472 horses on the freeway. You can pass somebody, find a windy road. Very tight steering, really responsive. We'll get into the performance in a second, but just this interior really kind of sets you up for that. And something worth noting, I feel like this is gonna age really well. That's not something we normally talk about when we're talking about cars, but I'm not buying this car brand new out of the gates. So I'm looking at this for probably what, 4, 5, 10 years down the road. And I think this interior, the way it's designed, the coloring, all of it, this is something that's gonna age really well. And I love that. So, oh yeah, with the upgraded audio system, you also get a 10.3-inch touch with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all that kind of stuff, which is nice. Lexus still has their trackpad right here, which has like haptic feedback and all that. I don't know why. I would rather have another cup holder, or I don't know, wireless charging or something like that. I think that's going to be phased out, I would imagine, pretty soon. It's not really easy to use, and I can just touch. Why would I touch here when I can just... So anyway, that's me. So enough about that. Let's get going. I like talking, but I love driving. Let's get some specs out of the way right away. We're talking about a 5.0 liter V8 worth 472 horsepower, 395 pound-feet of torque. Come on! 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. And room for a family on a short road trip. You hearing that? Yeah. That's good times right there. That's what good times sound like. Now, I'll be honest, when I first saw this thing, I was like, okay, I already test drove the 350 F Sport, which was a great car, nice little balance to it, but is this just like braggadocious? Is just as like over the top? Got those quad exhaust tips in the back. It's got the hood bulge. Is this just over the top? But I've been so pleasantly surprised by how Lexus has built this duality into the performance. It is a ripper, no question. The brakes on this thing are fantastic. It is an absolute sports car, and yet it's extremely livable. It's extremely usable, extremely drivable. There's a lot to love about this car. Let me start with something that I'm missing. I do wish it was all-wheel drive. You can get all-wheel drive in the other two IS variants, but you cannot get that here. All right, let me give you a little bit of Sport Plus. Nobody behind me. Let's get a nice little rev going here. A lot of wheel slip. Oh my gosh. Woo! Paper's flying. Woo! Give me a little cough in my breath. Little cough. I feel like, some cars when you go to sport mode, that's all it takes. Oh my gosh. Oh. Woo! This thing moves, baby. I love it. It can also be super tame, obviously, too, right? I think something that I expected when I saw this car was there's going to be a lot of flash, but not a lot of return. The IS 350 F Sport that I had looked like an amazing super sports car, and yet it didn't really kind of handle that way. The engine was a little bit tough, but when you have this naturally aspirated 5.0 liter V8, you get all the greatness of a V8, right? Everybody's going with their V6s, everybody's going 4-cylinder turbo, twin turbo V6s, but the V8 is a dying breed. It's a dying art. And of course with it comes the fact that it's very heavy. So this car takes a while to really get up to the speed that you want. In fact, peak torque doesn't really come in until about 5,000 RPM. And to get to 5,000, you really feel it. Let me show you what I mean. There's no one behind me, no one in front of me. Let me slow back down. Okay, let me go sport mode. Come on, come on, come on. Now I'm feeling that wave of power, there it is. But if you switch it over to manual mode, let me downshift here. Let me take you on a little side road. Actually, I'm gonna go this way because it's straight and sunny. Not looking to hit any patches of ice today. All right, manual mode. There we go, hold that rev. Totally different car. Totally different vehicle. I absolutely love that vehicle. So it's nice that that's kind of like in here. It's almost like an Easter egg. You gotta discover it. You gotta earn it. And when you do, there's just nothing beats the sound of a V8. I mean, look, I love turbos, don't get me wrong. I love the efficiency, I love the size, I love the weight, all that. But you get that growl, you get that deep throat that comes out of those quad exhaust tips. lower the windows. Listen to that soundtrack, huh? Absolutely phenomenal. Woo. Swap it back over. Regular drive mode engaged. I love the smell of brake dust in the morning. Something that's happened a few times while I'm in this car is the nod from the enthusiast. Oh man, this thing gets going. I love how this thing drives when it comes to corners, when it comes to finding an area that you can really kind of slip into and just get going. It's so flat. It's really stable. I mean, sure, this isn't going to compete with an M3, right? Someone's not like M3 or IS500 F-Sport, but it is going to compete with anybody who is looking for something that can be both a very livable daily driver and also rip it up on the streets. All right, so what do you think? Let me lead with this. I had this thing on the test track at Lexus headquarters a couple of months ago. Didn't love it. It was very heavy. It took a long time to spool up. Well, not spool, it's not a turbo, but to get going, you know, hitting that 5,000 RPM, I was already diving into corners before then, and I didn't put it in manual. I just wanted to see how the car would drive on its own. However, having put 600 some miles on it, road tripped it, driving through snow, single digit temperatures, kids in the back, groceries in the car, like all of that stuff, I am so impressed by the duality that Lexus has been able to find here with this just regular, casual, very comfortable driver, and yet it absolutely takes off. It's got that deep-throated sound, the quad exhaust tips. I've had a couple kind of like fanboys that I've passed in traffic kind of give me a thumbs up, flash their lights, wave, because they know there's just something else about this car. And that's something I love. I love an understated, a bit of a sleeper. I mean, sure, you've got the hood bulge, which is a bit of a nod, and you know, the quad exhaust tips, but this thing doesn't scream bright orange M3. So I love it. I love it for that. So there you go. That's the 2023 Lexus IS500 F Sport. I'm saving up my money. I'm gonna wait a few years, let it drop in price, and I might just get this one. I don't mind that blue out there. This is what my kids call the Spider-Man version because it's blue outside and red in here. I kind of think they missed an opportunity with Marvel there. So anyway, make sure you're following Hot Cars online as well as here and on social for up-to-the-minute renderings, reviews, and articles. I'm Bradley Hasemeyer. I'm off to have more fun. Have a great day. Oh yeah.